That's you know what that's the thing. Freemason just never had the merch that marijuana had. If Freemason had like the sick merch, people would just be more into it.
It's like the Run DMC logo, but Freemason.
FR bass.
Right.
Hey, is this right, Otis?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Is this right?
I can't say exactly
That
who.
used to be every dab we used to take.
Yeah, back in the day, right? Yeah. Before you knew.
Hit it when it's hot.
So, yeah, is it
My
ready?
method used
it's
to be
pink.
I'll cool the banger off with the dab. So just drop a gram on
Oh my
there.
God. I can't say which family members, but because I can't specify my family or my wife's family.
Yeah.
But I have family members that also dab, but when they go, they don't. It's like I don't want to say they're not as technologically advanced as we are in this room. So like they don't have like the temp or the temp thing. So I get there and they have a slurper, but it is fucking caked, dog. I was like, how the fuck? And I was just like, are you just gonna heat? And I was like, I didn't even know how they smoked out of it. But then it was just like so funny to see them. I was like, because they didn't have any they just lit it up and then just dabbed it, and I was like showing them really nice rosin and shit, and I was like, oh, you guys don't even know. You guys are just putting ketchup in fucking $120 bottles of wine.
Something like that.
No, I did that. I actually just threw a slurper away the other day that was chazzed as fuck, because I was probably at a point there where I didn't have a temp tech, and I was just fucking going in on hot dabs. And
speaking of Chaz bangers, a buddy Hebrew of mine, he gave me original JP Toro Terp Slurper, like 3 years ago. And I got it, and I'm like, cool. Like, I bought bangers before. I bought, Quave and, the Opaques. And I know how much they cost, $100, $200. They're not cheap. So I get this Slurper, and I don't have a temp meter at the time. I'm still, like, timing it. I'm, Wook timing it. That's when you kind of just go like this.
With the hand.
And
Wook tech.
And I chaz it. And I'm like, oh, I chazzed it. Time to get another one. So I hit up my buddy. He's like, you can't just get a slurper, dude. Like, they're always sold out, let alone the one you have. That's like a dead stock. They don't make that type anymore. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I make a post on Instagram. I'm like, yo, I need a slurper. Everyone's like, good luck getting a slurper, buddy. Those things sell out in, seconds. And I'm like, oh, that's whack. Like, my shit's Chaz, man. And sure enough, I am Big Mace, so, everyone reached out. Like, we got you, dog. We got 5 over here. We got 3 over here. Still had to pay. They weren't for free. So, I did buy my slurper. But ever since that day, I made sure I had, like, a 3D print at the time. It was like this, mold that they made with a terpometer in there. And then little by little, the dab right started to reemerge and make a name for itself. And the dab right hasn't done me wrong ever since. Shout out dab right. They actually sent me, like, 10 fucking dab rights one day just because I told them I'm always telling people to use dab right.
Yeah, perfect.
Fuck yeah. But
I do love those dab
we went in right into the interview, but let's we're live, right?
Oh yeah,
we're recording. Fuck yeah. Let's introduce the homie. Welcome to the Masonic Smoker podcast. Masonic Smoker here. We got Golden State Banana Nick over here. What's up, man?
What up?
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I see you just fucking firing this up. I said I got to come tap in with my bro and get on the podcast. Let's tell some stories.
I seen you last night at that Future Cannabis Project deal, and I'm all like, oh, shit, like, here's our next fucking guest, And,
timing.
Perfect timing. It's all ready to go. All of our team is remote, so it's not like, we just got to form like Voltron, and it's good to go. Thank you for coming in and sitting down with us for this podcast, man. It's just some good dialogue that I think I want to, know about, and a bunch of other people do as well.
Yeah, for sure. Man.
Fuck yeah. I have like a little boiler template of questions that I like to allude to. So, just bear with the questions. Anything that's too, silly or just, you don't want to answer, feel free to, pass on that question. But
and I'm his ADHD co-host, Frank.
No doubt, no doubt. Fucking origin story as far as Golden State Banana is concerned. What would you say your origin story is?
Well, origin story is, I've been a lifetime cultivator. I've been growing cannabis for 25 years plus. So I was like 16, 17. I started growing. I'm growing weed every year. Evolved more and more into, just getting more involved with the plant, and as we out in California here, just walked through this legalization from 215 to 64. I just got more and more involved. About 2012, I think, we started running the Banana Cut, the classic Oregon Kid Banana OG, and we were calling it Chiquita Banana back then in the beginning. And there was that time right as like legalization hit, you know, Oregon, Washington went legal, and all these like lawsuits started happening, right? Remember the stuff with the Star Wars shit, like the Skywalker and the Yoda and the Jedi or all that, you know, that was like a big problem. And then the Gorilla Glue shit happened with this lawsuit. Dougie got sued by Starbucks.
Yep.
So I was like, all right. And we were like using the Chiquita Banana logo. So I was like, let me figure out how to not get sued right now or fucking have some problem. And I'm from Santa Cruz, you know, so, you know, local Jimbo Phillips, who does the Santa Cruz skateboard art. He's a friend of ours, and kids grew up together. And so I reached out to him and had him do the logos.
So that logo is done by the Santa Cruz logo, dude.
Yep.
That's
that's
gnarly.
fucking
I
sick,
didn't know
dude.
that.
Jimbo Phillips, yeah.
I mean, it looks fresh as fuck already, but that's like
that adds a whole nother layer.
that's gonna go down in history.
Yeah,
as
that's
like
why
a
I love
piece
it
of
so
fucking
much,
art.
you
That's
know.
fucking dope.
And that's why I feel like, you know, it connects so much to you know, me from my past, and like that's what I've always loved is like, you know, street art and, you know, skateboard kind of background coming. So that was just epic for me to get that art done by him. And that's, once I did that, that was like right at the beginning too of like people actually creating brands. Before that, everything, you walk in a dispensary, you're just selling them turkey bags, you know. Even before that, like before we even branded it, we were starting to get into testing, and that wasn't even a sell point. You couldn't go into a dispensary back then and be like, yeah, I got a 30% tester. They're like, fucking who cares, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so
Would you say it's going back to those days, or it's still like a thing? Like you go into a shop and they're like, "Oh, this one's 30%."
I think it's a box you have to check now.
Yeah.
And here's the discussion that evolves into is what we realized with that. Like in the beginning, it's like, you know, so my friends just started SC Labs. I wasn't like going out to find out how high my THC was. I was just supporting my friends. All right, test my weed. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
And back then, everything was like 18%, you know, 15, 18, 20, you know. Maybe like a 22 or a 25 would be like crazy high back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, right then we're starting to like make BHO, open blasting and shit, you know. And
this is like 2012?
Yeah, maybe 2010, 2012.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're like, what does that mean? You know, what is you know, everything's normally 15%. You know, these banana, the sour. I remember we had the sour OG was testing 30% too, and we're like, what the fuck does that mean? What is it? Well, right at that time, we're starting to open blast all the sugar trim and stuff, right? You go from getting 50 or 60 grams of, you know, whatever other OG or whatever else we're growing, the regular, you know, stuff, and then you get 100 grams or 120 grams off the banana or these high tests. So we're like, oh shit. So that's when, once you realize like, that starts happening, and then that becomes a whole new revenue stream, right? Because back then, shatter, everything sell like $50, $100 a gram, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what like really made us start looking into checking that as a box, because it became, you know, something that, you know, it was, you know, producing more revenue, you know?
No doubt.
So you wanted to find that one that was going to yield the most.
No doubt. So from Santa Cruz is where, you know, a lot of your, you know, grow tech and genetics come from?
Yeah, I was in Santa Cruz for about 20 years. Like I said, I started growing in Indy, and that's why I tell everybody. So back then, you know, I was growing skunk weed, the real skunk. You know, everybody, there's all this controversy about the skunk, man. I hope somebody out there has it, or we can find something of it again. Because
you yourself, have you seen any rendition or anything close to or reminiscent of that skunk that you saw back in Indy?
I have not. I do have a friend who has it. I haven't got my eyes or my nose on it yet. He just harvested some outdoors, so hopefully we make some rosin with that. He's in Mish, so I'm excited to see if it's it. But there was also, I was excited that Skunk Con was about to happen, so I was planning to fly out to that to just see what was going on everywhere, but that's not happening right now.
That one, I got, you know, wind that, you know, they're going to change the verbiage on that one just because of there's a lot of, like, naysayers when it comes to skunk. So as soon as, like, you know, homie Lou that try to do that, every time he'd make a post of it, like, you know, they'd just take it down or something like that. Or people would be like, oh, that's not real, whatever the case, like.
Pardon to interrupt, but I actually don't know about this skunk drama. Can you guys fill me in real quick?
So recently on Instagram, there's like this roadkill skunk strain that used to exist that people say they have, that people can't really put the paper trail together that they actually do have.
Yeah, it's hard
so
to
no
verify.
one can like prove it to my knowledge. Yeah, there's a couple breeders that say they have it, but like me personally, like I know it's real once I'm smoking the bitch
Exactly.
or growing the bitch.
Yep.
I've yet to see like anything that's like, holy shit, roadkill skunk or skunk, like that's different, that's special. I went out of my way to try to like go down that rabbit hole, and Todd P. McCormick, AG Seed Company, he's a breeder, a dude, and he released some skunk #1 strains, and I bought them, I grew them out, and it was kind of like the limp handshake as far as like, where's the skunk at? It was more like a sweet floral terp. So it's like, I'm still going down that rabbit hole, and I've acquired some other seeds that are skunk varieties, but like you take it with a grain of like whatever. You don't really take it that serious. You're like, sure, it's skunk. Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
And that's what's up with the skunk.
Yeah, that's the other. I mean, the other sometimes question I say to myself is back. It was a long time ago. You know, it was 20-something years ago. This is when people were going to Amsterdam and smuggling the seeds back, and I think. You know, because like you said, I've seen a lot of other people since then pop skunk, and it's that sweet shit. It's not anything of what we had. So it makes me think like maybe it wasn't skunk. Maybe like
That's
it was
another thing that it ties into. What if it was like they just smelled something in the air and they called it skunk because it smelled like a skunk to them? Not necessarily. They couldn't really pinpoint like what, raunchy smell it was, but the easiest one to allude to was skunk, and they just kind of just like we call weed fire. That's some fire. You know, where's the fire at?
Yep.
We're never gonna find it again because we just alluded a smell to that. You know?
Yeah, no, and that's why I say that too, because I also remember people back then would call it. I remember like back then, some people would come around with the Ganny, and it would be the skunk. You know, so like,
I think that when it comes to that, I think it's more like everyone has their own rendition of skunk.
Right.
Depending on their geographical location.
Yeah, and that, I mean, the cool thing is that, I mean, obviously it wasn't one cut, so there had to be some seeds of that genetic that was going around and people were getting, you know.
No doubt. But fuck yeah, the skunk. To tie back to that conversation, any strain that you might have lost, like the skunk, probably one of them that you would really like back, or anything else that like you grew from seed and you kind of kept in your living library and it died in a raid or something. Is there anything you wish you still had to this day?
I mean, I've grown probably almost everything, you know. I've loved, I loved an old Cincy Star that I had that I never see anymore. That was like super frosty and kind of like a sweet red hairy, like, you know.
Oh, I love a redhead.
Yeah, it was unique, you know. And, you know, I don't know if there's anything. We've definitely lost a lot of shit. I always loved the headband. You know, that's still around, but that for me was like.
I grew a bunch of headband crosses from Heroes of the Farm, and I found that like that sweaty kind of gassy funk from one of those. And I used to smoke a lot of headband, and then there's like a Loompas headband, and then there's like a 707 headband.
Yeah, 707.
The 707 when I grew it, it wasn't like the headband that I'm familiar with.
Really?
Where it's like gas. The 707 had like more like of a chemi thing going on with it. But
yep.
either way, that's only from the only time that I grew those. Like I would probably have to go dive in again to give you like more info on that. But headband is one of the ones, and you said Cincy Star.
Yeah.
There might be like some hybrids of that still around that some dudes are playing with, you know?
Yeah. No, I've seen it, but it's not what I've seen has never been that cut that I had back in the day. And I mentioned to you not too long ago too, like Trainwreck. When like right now, what I'm thinking is like strains that we had back then when we weren't making hash.
Yeah.
That I think today would be like, wow, if we had that, you know, that would be some great terps to be, you know.
So
tasting.
no offense to Big Cat, but like if you want some Trainwreck, go grab you some Mac
that's what
hybrids.
you said.
I'm
That's what
dead
you said.
serious, bro. That this Trainwreck fucking city up in that Mac mel that he uses for those hybrids.
All right, so that's
and it's
hopefully we find
it's a
something
just
good.
is thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just is, and it just so happens that terpinolene is really dominant in the mel that he uses, to the point where I had like AB from Mills at my garden, like 3 seasons ago, and he's going through my garden and there's a purple plant. It looks really nice and frosty. He goes up to it and he's like, "That's purple Trainwreck." I'm like, "No, it's not. That's Granny Mac." You know, like it's like that. Fuck
Wow.
yeah.
What'd you
So
call
it's
it?
definitely in there.
Turpa what?
Terpinolene.
That sounds like a great name for a daughter.
Fucking A. What's your average day like consumption like? How do you like to smoke? Preferred method? You dab? You flower? What do you like? You like Skittles? What's up? What's the deal?
Yeah, I dab pretty much mostly on the daily, especially like when I'm at home. I'm just dabbing. Especially when I come hang out with you guys. I love all the terpenes coming over here and dabbing. But when I'm out socializing, like in New York, most of the time everybody isn't dabbing. They're not. It's not as much of a heady dab scene like that. So mostly when I go out, like when I'm out traveling or something, I'm socializing, smoking flowers, smoking blunts.
Do you have to wear a pair of Timberlands when you go to New York?
Not what I haven't been there in the winter yet, but I'll be there this winter, so I definitely will have Timbs on when that snow hits.
Dead ass.
I mean, I totally understand that.
You gotta have some Timbs
Did
for
you
the winter
smoke
out there.
Piff while you were in New York?
Oh man, so I love Piff. A lot of people.
What's Piff?
We're gonna tell you about that. A lot of people don't know what Piff is, right? Especially California, right? And they smell it, and they're like, "What is this? Like CBD or like boof or something?" It's like, and I smoked Piff. I went to New York when I was 19. My friend Hector, shout out Heck, took me to the Bronx. I had a pound of weed that I grew in Indiana, and he's like, "Bro, we gotta take this over here." And
What
sell
kind
this
of weed was it?
It was skunk.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we drove it over to New York, and we're selling it, and he's taking me to the spots and buying the weed there, and they were calling it Piff back then. They were calling it the I didn't think they called it haze back then. I think they were just calling it the Piff, and it was just such a unique taste.
Yeah.
It was something like even back then they were talking about it. Like, you smell it? It smells different than like other weed you smell. It just tastes like different, and so that's always been just a flavor that I've loved, and I didn't smoke it for a long time, for years and years. Probably 17 or something, Dougie had some at the coffee shop.
All right.
It's the first time I'd smoked it, and probably since then, and dude, it had my heart racing. I had to lay down on his couch. It's the only time I can think of that, like a real sativa feeling, that that description that we call sativa, like that I had that feeling, like my heart's racing, I'm like feeling high as fuck. I was like, damn. I had to lay down on his couch, and I was like, that's a different fucking effect, and because I hadn't smoked anything like that in a long time. So fast forward, now I'm going out to New York, and that's what I love about New York, is they still grow that haze over there. Yeah, they grow all that shit there. A lot of people are still keeping all that shit alive, and they love that and respect it. So, and you get over there and you see some, now here we are 20 years later, people are growing good weed,
It's kind of like the rap too, like we're over here experimenting, doing all these funky strains and shit. New York's like, nah, G, like we got some
this
real
shit.
ass rap still over here, dog. Like that's how I feel. They stick to their guns with, their strains,
Yeah.
From what I've noticed. To tie on to the Piff story, I think one of the first people to like just bring up Piff, and like it was Oni. He's like, oh, I did this haze cross, and I remember one time he had like a Piff S1, and I like picked it up. I was like, oh, that ain't it, dog. And he's like, yeah, like I knew you would say that, And around that time, I had a buddy, Piff Coast. Piff Coast.
Yeah.
He sent me Cuban Black, and I'm like, here's that MIDI shit that Nick had me smell the other day. Whatever, we'll grow it since you say it's so good. I grow it, sure enough, I'm like, this ain't it, dog. Like, I can't vibe with it. I can't get jiggy to this shit,
Right.
Whatever, I make seed stock. I release the seed stock, Cuban Black Haze Cross to Wilson. The homie Immortal grows it, and he's taking pictures. He's doing shots. I'm like, cool. Someone likes it. Someone's pumping it out. He brings me hash of it, and I smoke it. I'm like, oh, I think I get it now.
Yeah.
I think I get it now. And we're at a contest, right, where dudes have all the best hash from all around the United States or the world there to compete. There's some hitters in the house. I find myself gravitating towards that Piff jar.
So unique.
Smoking the whole Piff jar. Everyone and their mom. The Piff jar wasn't even entered into that contest. They're asking about it. Where's the Cuban Black Wilson? Where's the Cuban Black Wilson? So, and yeah, that strain is like a song that isn't catchy, that you really gotta listen to. That's a really good song. You just gotta listen to the words.
Yeah, the music is definitely in there. No, and that's shout out Piff Coast, because he had some Piff rosin when I was just out in New York, and I tried it for the first time.
That's probably the same
Fucking
shit from Immortal.
Bomb.
Yeah. That's the
Bro,
one.
it was
That's the
so
one.
amazing. I loved it.
That's the Wilson Cuban Black or his Holy Communion or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I think it was the Holy
Yeah,
Communion. Yeah, and that's he's crossing all that stuff with the Piff, and that's the cool thing is now you get some of these other characteristics, right?
So I'm doing a Cuban Black Wilson Sour right now.
Fuck. Yeah, and I have a pack of the Cuban
Yeah.
Black Wilson that you gave me. I'm definitely popping those. I'm
Guys,
excited as
It's
fuck
Cuban
about that.
Black Wilson Top Dog Sour cross the Sour DBX2.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're gonna love that over there
that should
too.
Be fun. That should be fun.
I'm so high every time you guys keep saying Cuban Black. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is the strain. All right.
So you're a dabber. You're
Yep,
a dabber.
yep.
Fuck yeah, that's what's up. And Cuban Black. Shout out Cuban Black. Any new upcoming projects you got with as far as work? What's new? What you got in the works for the peeps? So you always got some
Man,
hash rolling out?
yeah, I'm always working. I'm trying to do just do the most. I really I fuck with everybody in the industry, so I really love just like I do a lot of collaboration stuff. So I really just love working with everybody and doing a lot of new stuff. So I've got a lot of new stuff working right now. A bunch of new. I've been popping crazy beans.
All right, you've been popping crazy beans. What do you consider like when you're doing a pheno hunt? What do you like to work with? Do you work with what you got? Do you like to do 100 seed pheno hunt? How do you go about in your pheno and your selection and everything like that?
No, I'm just a regular guy, man. I buy seeds from everybody and I just pop the shit 20, 50 at a time. A couple different flavors.
Fuck
And
yeah.
I was just telling Clutch. That's what I was just saying. Like, I think for a long time, there weren't as many people popping seeds, right?
Yeah.
So we're in this new world where we're seeing a lot of these new genetics because people are actually popping a lot of beans.
Yeah.
But for a long time, it's a time consuming, project or process to hunt and try to find something. So I feel like we end up and we see a lot of stuff that people have popped out here, and that's why I said to Clutch, I think I've even done it too, where it's like, man, you put 6 or 9 months or a year into something, and you wanna have something to show for it, right? But it may not just check all the boxes, right?
No doubt. No doubt.
But now, now that's like I said, now that we're able to pop more seeds for a long time too, I didn't have the ability to just pop a lot of seeds all the time,
Yep.
So that's kind of like the new buzz for me is just hunting, finding that new stuff. And it's been, like I said, I've been growing weed a long time, man. I've popped seeds, a 1,000 times, and there's been fucking, most of the time I don't keep anything,
I'd imagine, back in the day, I can only imagine like how much harder it was to get access to genetics,
Yeah.
good genetics.
Yeah.
It was more secretive, and people weren't as easy to share as they are nowadays. There wasn't Instagram where everybody and their mom's a breeder, and you go right to their DM, and it's at your front door the next day. So, not to say, that they're less sub, but like you really had to put in a little bit more work back in the day to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and you couldn't, like you said, people weren't giving stuff away, which is, just another discussion we have a lot. I'm a little different. I look at the plant a little different than that, just because, like you said earlier, there's been a lot of genetics that we've had and lost for whatever reason, and it's like, fuck, if I just, if had given that out to a bunch of peeps and had made sure everybody had it, then that shit would still be
would've been
around.
around.
Like, so like, for me,
It's a double-edged sword, right? Like, you could whore it out and get 25 cents for the thing that used to be worth $1,000.
Yep.
But the other side of that is like, if you lose that, it's gone forever.
Yeah, and the plant. I don't think the plant belongs to anybody. I don't want to be like, oh, I got this and nobody else can have it or nobody else has it, because, like I said, I respect growers, man.
Yeah.
I respect what everybody's doing. Fuck, you could have it and Mace gets it and make something crazy new out of the shit. That's the real, like the real.
There's still some ethics, behind all that. Like, if someone's like, yo, I got this cut, don't give it to nobody. Just breed with it. Sure, whatever.
But it's like there's so many people in the world, bro.
Yeah.
You're never gonna, like, you know what I mean? It's there's no competition for that. So I mean, I feel like there could look. Thank God that a bunch of people have the banana and grow the banana, because look what we see. Look what's happened to it now. I just come and see you guys. There's these crazy new like banana terp crosses, like, it's
Wilson is like the main building block on Wilson, the flagship strain that I made everything and does a lot of the work that I do is Banana OG.
That's
So
a
it's
you know
like-
it's a staple. It became a staple in the hash
Yeah.
or in the terp world. You know, so it's like, but you know, it could be banana or Skittles or runts or gelato or whatever. You know, and it's
No
like
doubt.
I think. Like I said, people have that mindset of like, oh, if I get it out, it gets hoarded up. Like I said, to me,
Yeah.
you can never grow enough. Like there's never.
And my thing is like you can grab the same shit I have, let alone have all the same tools I have, and you for sure have the same time in a day I have, but like it's gonna be different.
Yeah, and every facility's different. The way people grow are different, right? So you get to see a lot of different shit when, people start playing with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
What are your favorite strains to grow?
banana.
Banana. Love it.
No, but I love all the terpy shit, man. Like, I love papaya. I love GMO.
Hell yeah.
Like to grow. Trying to think of just a plant that I love watching grow. I think banana is just, for me, it's, I got that special connection with it,
Hell yeah. Well, I'm about to line you up with a dab of some banana OG Bucha berry from Simply Adam with some banana OG Wilson
Do
by
you-
Simply Adam,
Do you like regular bananas?
bred by Masonic.
I do.
Smoker.
I eat banana. I don't know if most people follow me, but I'm making banana smoothies every day.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'm frying plantains at home. I'm eating banana everything, bro. I live the banana life for sure. Everything banana.
Is the car?
What's that show called?
car a
Arrested
certain color?
Development, I think it is.
Yeah.
that's the
There's
show right
always
there.
money in the banana
There's
stand.
always money in the banana stand.
I swear they must have seen my shit and made that
Bananas
show.
in pajamas. What else we
Yo,
got
is
over
there a T-shirt that says "There's money in the banana stand"?
I made a T-shirt that says
Okay,
it.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Listen, I'm just trying to pitch ideas. you know?
Appreciate that.
What's your favorite thing to smoke? What you smoking on right now?
I love all the terpy shit, man. So, I smoke. I've been mixing some banana shit. This banana pudding is honey banana and Golden State banana mixed together that I whipped up. I've been playing with, a lot of papaya crosses and, but smoking flower wise right now, that belts.
You like the belts?
The belts is banging.
The hash of it is really
The hash is lovely too, but that's what the discussion I talk to a lot of
Yeah.
people about now is like now we're getting into a world where we have terps for concentrate and we have like a terp that I feel like is great taste of smoking, like gelato.
The thing
Runts?
with that is like they'll be like, oh, it's not for hash because of the low yield on it, right? So a rainbow belts might do like 3% or something like that. So they're like, oh, like that's not for hash. But dude, I want to smoke
the
that
terps
all
are
day,
there,
baby.
yeah.
What you mean?
And
Fucking
we just got to pop more beans. We'll find the one that's
leave
gonna
that
yield.
GMO over there somewhere, you know?
So, how long have you've had this space for a while?
It's going on like 3 years.
Every person that's come here to do this podcast has been like, "I'm so stoked you're doing it," and you're finally I was like, "Oh damn!" Like a lot of people wanted you to do this.
Yeah, it's long overdue.
That's
and
good.
being a rapper.
Wait, you're a rapper?
I'm a rapper too.
Yeah,
I be killing clutch all the time on the
All right,
threes,
guys, I'm
bro.
gonna have to stop
Be
doing
on
this
his neck.
podcast.
Look at his neck.
I didn't know you could
Gave that to
rap.
me
That's
too
cool.
cold. I thought we'd take hot dabs.
I
over
think
here.
I can.
Oh, that's even better, dog. That's like the confidence behind,
That's gonna be classic.
Oh, I'm gonna
Mace mixtape coming,
Burner, watch
dropping
out, coming
soon.
for your spot. All right, here we go. Who are your 5 favorite breeders and growers? They don't have to be 5. Who are
5?
your favorite breeders? Who are your favorite growers? Just off rip.
Favorite breeders, definitely fuck heavy with Mace.
that's what I'm talking about,
You know what I'm
baby.
saying?
Yeah.
That's the clip.
I am fucking with Piff Coast because like I said, I respect the fuck that he's
Fire.
rocking that that haze and that sour and keeping that going.
Fire.
Man, breeders, I fuck with everybody.
That's
man.
what I'm talking
I
about.
really
We can
do
keep
love
it
all
short
this
at the
shit.
breeders, you know?
Yeah.
Who are your favorite growers, dog? That's right.
No, and growers, same thing, man. There's a lot of people just growing fire. I think we're seeing, like, I think what I think to myself right now when I think that is like you got people just all across the spectrum doing a lot of from small batch grows, right? From like, the, NorCal Nemo small batch stuff to, even super scaled 1,000 light grows that guys are killing it, like, creating the best flower that I feel like we've ever seen, and that's a discussion to have. Like, we used to build these grows, it might cost 30 or 50 grand to build out something that was a super nice, garage grow or whatever we used to build back in the day. Now we've got $20 million grows. It's a fucking spaceship, For me as a grower, I love that. I'm like, everybody's like, oh, you get the bigger, you get the scale and stuff. Like, no, it's like all that shit's perfect. Everything is built the way it's supposed to be. And like for us to be able to maximize,
feed the world,
everything. Yeah. So, and I feel like we're seeing better flower now from that.
No doubt.
Yeah, man, this new flower is scaring these old people.
You seriously?
I mean, the future's now, old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. My dad says shit like that. Like, like, oh man, that shit was super strong. I just need some outdoor or something.
I asked my my wife's dad. I was just like, "Do you remember any strains or anything you remember smoking back in the day?" And he goes, "Nope." He was like, "It was just weed." Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, that was I just bought bags of it." Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, that was, that we've evolved. We've come so far from the brickweed seeded fucking layers of seeds in the brick, like breaking up the weed, take an hour to get all the seeds out.
So you've been in the game for a hot minute, 25 years. It used to be a little bit more cutthroat, dangerous back in the days. Like, have you ever been like in a situation that you could tell us about where like it got really gnarly?
I mean, I was young and kind of putting myself out there and, putting myself probably in dangerous situations when I was a kid, So I've been through a lot of shit. I've done a lot of shit.
And any specific one you could share with us? Even an abridged version, it doesn't have to be like, guy meets a guy, the car catches on fire, and
I beat the shit out of him with the banana.
I mean, there's just been, there's been just crazy. I mean, you think about shit with the cops, places gotten robbed.
Yeah.
There's just been. I've been doing this for a long time, so you can just.
It doesn't even have to be like an incriminating one. It could be like one where you guys barely made it out, or like you were shitting bricks.
Oh, there's a. I mean, not like not like violent or anything, but we were like.
Let's peel this banana, dog. Let's see what's behind the peel.
I was probably like 18 or 19, and we were Indiana. So I tell everybody the story how we used to grow. We would rent houses for veg.
Yeah.
We didn't flower.
Already.
Right? So we would cut thousands of clones, right? Starting June, July, you're smacking them in the cornfields and the soy fields, right? So we're just going thousands of clones, smacking spots. And one time we're coming back driving in this car, and I had this fucking car I bought from my buddy that was like fucking lien title or some shit, like nothing had ever been signed over, and it was like title to title, like some like shit was all fucked up. We were coming from out of the fields, like we were in like it was middle of the summer, so we were like sweating. I think we were all muddy or something from being out there. Like it's me and my buddy and my wife, like we got all our clothes off and shit, like we get in the car and like take our like clothes off, so I'm like in my boxers or something, driving. We get pulled over by this cop in this little podunk town. The car shit's all fucked up, like for the registration and shit. And the cop is like, we had all this shit from like for planning the shit in the trunk and everything, and like he saw this shit and he's like trying to put together what the fuck's going on. And we're like, I didn't have a license. I'm driving this car. I don't have a license. It was like, we just come from smacking all this weed out in the field. And he's just trying to put the pieces together, and we're all like have our clothes off in the car. That was a crazy situation. We didn't go to jail, but it was like
he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, he wanted to take. He was gonna tow the car. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere. It was like I think we did have some like just some weed, smoke weed on us, so that like he smelled weed or something, so that caused a bunch of problems. This is back in the days.
No doubt.
It wasn't even a joint.
Especially over there in Indy, right?
Yeah, Indy's like super conservative state. They're not going legal. I've thought they were going to go legal because it's a super ag state, but they're like
it's that Bible Belt, right?
Exactly. That's
yeah,
exactly what I was going to say, man. They're just too
Do you have any stories of getting caught by like an authority figure, like your parents or your cousins or like your aunt or anything?
No, I was kind of, like I said, I was wild when I was young. I started smoking weed when I was like 12 or 13, and I just didn't give a fuck. I was like smoking it in my house, in my basement. Like, you know, there wasn't no hiding it. My mom or whatever would yell or whatever. Like,
What you should just be like,
I
yeah.
just like, no. Back then I would just deny it. No, I wasn't. Smells like weed. There's no, you couldn't deny it.
Now
you
that
know?
you're older and you're just like now, like, do you see how ridiculous the
That's what I
bold-faced
mean.
lie
It's
was?
like, how stupid could you know? You know,
Nope.
But I was, and that's how dumb I was. Where I was just like smoking. I didn't go outside or anything. I'm just like in the basement smoking bowls.
Hell yeah. What's your living library looking like as far as, you know, mom's clones that you like to keep around at all times? Like, is there a clone that you've kept with you through the whole journey, or, you know, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have a lot of, you know, I buy like all the banana crosses that people do and shit. So I popped a bunch of banana stuff that I have and keep around. And like, I just recently started, you know, I kept that Rainbow Belts 2.0 mail that I told you about that I hit to a bunch of stuff.
Neat.
That kiwi strawberry that I've been wanting to bring to you to play with is something that I've kept around just because it's like a super unique terp also.
Yeah.
And I used to, you know, it was a killer flower, and we used to make BHO with it, and fucking shout out Bobby Trill, man, came through one day and was like, actually it was Preston, but Bobby, I think, you know, Bobby washed it with him or something, but Preston came through and was like, you know, we should try to make some hash with this. And back then, you know, I don't know where the fuck Preston is these days, but man, he was way ahead of the time on the hash game, you know, like.
Yeah, back then it was like a big gamble. You're like, wash all my shit? You're fucking shit
I was like,
crazy.
hell no. Yeah.
Smoking crack.
Yeah,
what
I was
are you
like,
talking about?
And he bought it, so I no, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it,
yeah.
right? He bought the frozen from me, and then he went and washed it, right? And it came out fucking fire, like, you know, it just looked amazing.
No test
back
wash.
then, right? Yeah, no, just straight washed it, and bro, and that was like, that was probably 2017 or something. And he went to Barcelona with it to Spanibus, bro, and everybody, like, I had people hitting me up going crazy, like, it's kiwi strawberry rosin. I hadn't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
And he brings it back, and then I finally try it, and I was like, holy fuck, because I wasn't on hash back then. I wasn't on rosin. I was literally like, you can't put that shit in my banger back then, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, people were fucking chazzing that shit, and you know, with the early hash days, it was just, you know.
That happened
So
with
like,
Sour Diesel Wilson I made. Everyone, in one ego clash, and everyone was like, your Sour Diesel Wilson is, and I'm like, I haven't even tried that shit.
I haven't even tried it. But yeah, so like, you know, there's a couple good banana crosses that I have right now that I'm liking, and I did that, the Rainbow Belts 2.0 to the banana, so I just popped a bunch of that stuff, and to the kiwi strawberry.
Sick with it.
Yeah.
Shout out Fletch Archive with that Rainbow Belts, putting
Yep.
in work. I've been using that shit too to make some stuff.
I'm that's what I mean. Like, I smoked that flower and I was like, wow. Back to that. That's what I mean. We finally found a few flavors that I feel like are like, when you smoke flower, like all the way to the end, you know, you're just tasting that and you're like, wow, that's a good flavor. I think Gelato Runts is one of those. I think obviously Skittles is amazing, always tastes good. And that Belt is like the new version where you get a little bit different structure than a Z. The flavor's just a little different. And
I also
I'm
think
loving
it's
that
like
now.
the reason weed doesn't taste good to the last tip is because a lot of bad weed is out there right now too, you know? I think that's also a thing. The quality is for sure diminishing with, I don't know, it just, not all the weed is good.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. We got a lot more people growing weed now, and they're not all as experienced, you know.
As
So
back in the day when only the pros were.
you had to be a pro, right?
Yeah.
No, and you know, that's you know, we had to figure it out along the way too, you know. And it's farming, right?
Yep.
Every batch is different. You have good batches, you have bad batches,
Yep.
you know. And now, luckily, we're kind of in a new world where I feel like you can make that decision if something isn't necessarily looking like it's going to be good for flour, you know, then you can maybe freeze it and make hash with it or something. Not like in a situation where it's like, you know, bugs or PM, but where it's like if it's not going to yield as good or if it's not just not what you want necessarily to cure for flower. You got
Yeah.
another, something else to do with it. And it could look and, taste amazing still.
The indoor versus outdoor debate, where do you stand? I've smoked indoor flowers that were great. I smoked indoor hash that was great. Some of the best hash I've smoked has been outdoor. What's your perspective on indoor, outdoor?
I'm an indoor grower. I haven't grown a lot of big outdoor. I don't smoke really flower outdoor, but 1,000%. I think there's something special with, the natural sunlight and terp production, and you can definitely see, even just me growing plants outside where I'm at, the sun just does a little something different for the terp. So I think, I think for hash and for rosin, for concentrate smoking, I think, I don't see a difference, or I don't think there's anything better or worse about indoor, than outdoor.
No doubt.
I just think, just if you're growing it to make hash, treat it like you're growing it to make hash, right? You got to take some steps to do that, and to make sure you get that good flavor out of it.
Can't polish a turd. Fire in, fire out.
Right.
Fire in, fire out. Indoor or outdoor.
Straight up.
Yeah. We talked about your living library. What's your seed collection looking like?
Man, I have so many seeds, and I talk about this a lot too. Like, forever, seed collecting was like baseball card collecting, kind of, right? It was like you'd go to all the events, and that had to be like that was also like an effort you had to do. Like, it wasn't necessarily just going to like buy weed or go hang out at a High Times, right? A lot of times you were going to like somebody DNA was dropping something, or whatever, you're going to buy seeds, right? Like, for many years it would be, and you know what we used to do? We'd posse up, me, Billy Moxie, and like Cody, all these guys are like, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna buy these. I'm like, give me 3 packs of that, right? I'll go over here and I'll get these. I'll get you.
That way you guys get all the hot shit.
Damn.
Yeah, so we'd all go get the beans, and how it would work though, we'd all get all the beans literally every show. I'd go buy beans from like everybody, and you wouldn't just pop them first yet though. You'd wait till you came to the next show and see if someone else popped some, and see if some was good. They'd be like, oh, I got it, I'm gonna pop it. So like it was like.
You guys would wait for the guinea pig.
Yeah, because we didn't have the room back then.
Yeah, it was a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
But at least you had the
that's
card.
interesting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We had it, right? So
It's kind of like it's kind of like trading cards.
It
you
is,
know,
it is.
There's got to be a correlation between people that collect trading cards and people who work in the weed industry.
I'm a prime example of that right there.
Straight up.
I avid Yu-Gi-Oh player. Like we were talking about. You play Magic, so we know like
Hardcore MTG
the value
people.
that goes into like a cardboard piece. But the difference with the seeds is like not only is it this piece of cardboard and the nice packaging, but like there's substance in there that you can like physically smoke and like use, and
There's gold in them seeds.
it's
Yeah,
worth
straight
it's
up.
worth gold already, like not even planted already. And it's pretty like it's a cool job to be like a card maker.
Yeah, and it could be, it gets straight up.
Yeah.
And it could be, that's what I mean. You never know which is going to be the wild card, right? The fucking lottery ticket.
And my thing, it's like, so you say like back in the day, you guys used to wait for Homeboy to pop the seeds, right? Is that the case so now, like with lax, legality laxing up a bit? And
No, that's what I mean. Now that's what I love. Like forever, I couldn't pop a lot of seeds because I didn't have the room. I didn't have the space. I have a couple flower rooms, and a small veg space that we're keeping flowing, right? And I was like, try to be as
being
consistent
sustainable
with that as I could, right?
Yeah.
We were trying to harvest and have stuff already vegged and ready to put right in, and so we didn't have the room or the space to do it. And I think a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people weren't growing weed as much back then either. So, and it wasn't, it was a lot of smaller spaces, So
for those that might not get like why popping seeds can be like a gamble, especially back in the day, you get males, you get females, you get herms, you get stuff that necessarily doesn't meet the bars that you're trying to fit, like a
9 times out of 10,
an elite clone,
9 times out of 10.
There's bars to allude to when you're like doing your pheno hunt. And but now like with the access of more info and genetics and stuff being easier to get, and you know, you don't necessarily have to go to the festivals anymore.
Right.
Breeders are a little bit more
accessible,
chill, and you could talk to them in the
Yeah.
DMs and shit. Like, it's easier to make cooler shit.
Yeah. And yeah, I think breeders back then were so super underground, low key, because like you know,
Now it's
in order
everywhere.
they were kind of taking a risk back then, sending the beans out, and that was like
There was more wizardry behind it back in
Yeah,
the day,
for
and
sure.
not to say like respect to everybody, but like back then was like how like oh like you're a breeder.
yeah,
It's
it was
like how you do that like oh shit, like he's a breeder.
yeah. Like
Now it's like you're a breeder.
everybody doing it.
You're
yeah.
a breeder.
But it was cool because it was like shit that what you had to specifically want to do that back then. And I remember when I first went to fucking Spanibus, you know, I'm coming from here going to High Times where you go to the events, it's all booths full of weed and concentrate, everything. You go to Spanibus and it's
Seeds.
all seeds.
When I went to Spanibus with Oni for the first time, was it 2018 or 19, Nick? 18. Jesus Christ. I remember going to Spanibus and like looking around. I was at what's that dude's booth? Sativa Seedco? Super Sativa? Pure Sativa.
Yeah.
We were at his booth and like I'm 2018, like 26 or something. I'm just a little younger, you know? And I'm like looking around and it's like Happy Seed Co., Sad Seed Co., Glad Seed Co., Red Seed Co., Blue Seed Co., Circle Seed Co. Like the list goes on, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Bubba Gump Shrimp
Hundreds,
Seed Co.
Yeah, seriously.
Fried Seed Co. Fucking A. And I'm like, whoa. Like, it wasn't the case back here in the States. Back then, it was like, you know, who I knew. It was like, you know, Oni
Yep.
and Exotic and Cap. And like, those were the big dogs to me.
Straight up,
And little
yeah.
did I know, like, there was already some ground game established, but I was oblivious to the who's. Like, these were the big dogs to me, and like the people that I seen as soon as I came, and I'm like, oh shit, like Oni, like, you know, these are the first people that I'm like, oh, Seedco's.
Yeah.
And then they're like, dude, there's like other ones from back in the day. I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. We're like growing trop and papaya. I don't really care about the other stuff right now. And that's what got me so far, being oblivious to everybody else's cloth, that I wasn't like trying to like just. I wasn't on a chem hunt. I wasn't on an OG hunt. I was on like a new thing. I was on papaya and trop, which no one like. People were like, not that they were sleeping on, but they were awakening to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like on that train, and
Yep.
it's fucking. I lucked out, man. I lucked out big time. But when it comes to all that shit,
Yeah,
you know?
no, that was a good time. That's what I mean. I think that was like part of this like discovery of this, you know, of the terps, right? Because like papaya is so loud, trop's so fucking loud. You know, it's like, you know, we're you know starting to like. That's what I said, like differentiation, growing for terps as opposed to flower, you know, something, you know, and going back to breeders, you know, yeah, shout out to Mike Exotic Genetics because he's been making fire. I bought his shit for years and popped it. I popped that Grease Monkey in the beginning, man, and like it didn't have the terps I liked, but now I think so. This is perfect for the discussion we're having right now because you pop a lot of seeds sometimes it doesn't check all the boxes, right? But it have a lot of the characteristics that are fire, right? Super frosty as fuck, chunky as fuck, purple as fuck, no nose, right? Now you can get something where you cross that into it, get all those characteristics with a banana or a Z or a.
You get the
know.
ugliest plant in the world, Skittles,
Yep.
with the best terp, and you cross it to the Grease Monkey.
Yeah, it's
And now, you know, cross your fingers that you find like the one.
Yep.
And that's kind of how. You
shout
know,
out Mace. I popped that Skittles Grease Monkey Wilson.
Yeah,
I
that's a
got
good
2
one.
keepers.
That's a good one. Shout out Exotic. Shout out fucking Skittles. Shout out fucking, you know, we could go down
Yeah,
the rabbit
yeah.
hole of all
Seriously.
the people behind that, you know?
But you know that I was just thinking about breeders when you said that, and
That's a good one
and
right
Mike
there.
came to my head because he's gone a different direction, right?
Yeah.
Doing different shit. And I remember when I was trying to think when I first saw Oni, we were at an event somewhere, and I remember walking up to the booth, and you know because I was on banana shit, you know,
Yeah.
and they were doing a bunch of like fruity terps, you know, I was on some fruity shit like forbidden fruit. I was rocking that forbidden fruit for a long time. Forbidden fruit terps were
Forbidden
amazing.
fruit, Tropicana, Mimosa, all like came around the
Yep.
same time.
Yep.
And I was around, so I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
we doing
man.
trop over here, baby. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
and
saying?
I love that trop too because
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that was like some crazy purple crazy structure like I remember just
Yeah.
like when I first growing all that shit it's just so different
Yeah.
and but I remember, like, I think I was having a conversation. I forget who it was at the booth, but just talking about like some fruit terps, and I think that's what I mean. I don't know. Maybe it might have been you there, it might have been Nick or whoever, but I was like, somebody was like, I think it was like one of the strawberry banana crosses or something. I was like, yeah, you should try this one, right? And I remember tapping in and getting a bunch of those beans. I popped a bunch. I feel like that was like, like that. Like Oni was part of this like new wave of fruit terps that were.
It for sure was, to the point where there was dudes like slandering the fruit flag, and then like a year later they're like hash with fruits, and we're like, yeah, we're back on the gas, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, catch up, whatever.
I when I think about that, it's like when we think and talk about like how it's changed from the strains we've been growing. Like I feel like there was a time like that was a change right there, right?
At this point, like being a breeder is like we make strains and shit, but like you're tapping into like the vision of that breeder, and it's like they're promoting what they like.
Yeah, and another thing, back to like buying the seeds back in the day, I feel like part of the reason we waited too, because it was a little bit like, maybe it was like the
FOMO,
the mad, not, but like a lot of times back in the day you wouldn't get the terps that you thought you were going to get or you were looking for, because I don't know if it was like, I don't know what it was, but I feel like now you get a lot more genuine, right, representations of the crosses.
The paper trail is a little bit more legit.
A little more legit.
So this
100%.
is my correlation to that. When I started growing weed, I smoked OG. So I grew a weed seed, just a weed seed, and I'm like, hopefully some OG comes out. I don't know what, and it didn't.
Give me some gas. Yeah.
It didn't. It like, I would get like things, now that I think back, were reminiscent of like Piff and Chems, and I'm like, not even like a Chem 4, not like a Chem D, like on the other side.
Yeah.
And not as like raunchy. And I'd be like, where's the OG at? Like, this ain't
what is
it,
this
dog.
shit? Yeah.
And, as time went by and I grew stuff where I didn't know what it was, like, you just became familiar with those books. And the more books that I read, like, the easier it is to, like, pick up and know what I'm getting into. Or, like, there's terps that I don't know what I'm looking for, or I'm just in unscathed territory, just looking and bringing that back and trying to, give people access to that. And coining shit. Like, everything's out there. It's just a matter of, like, putting it into the network. Like Honey Bee is a prime example. Papaya is a prime example. Like Honey Bee's out there, but they were only making hash with it.
Right.
It took Oni to be like, someone should make seeds with that. And then boom, now there's like a Honey Bee derivative in the network.
And that's the cool thing. Now we'll have all these smelling these terps of all this shit here, where it's like, wow, we're going in another direction, and it's crazy, sweet, fruity terps.
And
it's different.
And you're smoking a Honey Bee hybrid right now, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's the cool thing, is, right? It's not. We find super fire flavors, and now we just get to keep evolving them and keep going to the next level. And what can we find next?
And Lord knows, like, Rainbow Belts is a derivative of Skittles that we all
100%,
love. And when you smoke that, Skittles is like what we're in love with in there. And we're in love with the Moonbow side. I think it's like a Dosey thing that's in there. That shit's John Blaze too. I love Dosey. I love Skittles. I could only imagine they have the most beautiful baby in the world.
Yeah, no, the same thing, right? Dosey, I've never really been a fan of, but I do like the structure.
Yeah.
I like how it looks, right? So there's got those characteristics to it where same thing, right? Thank goodness we're getting away from just a regular Z, because Z has such great terps, but it's such a shitty plant to grow, you know? So we finally find these things, like, and that's why I thought about Mike, because I was in Boston for Best in New England that we just did, and they're crushing it over there. They're growing a lot of fire weed. They're making fire hash over there, and I tapped in with the guys at Wisely, and they had a bunch of different exotic flower and rosin shit that they were making, and they had Skittles runts pheno from that was like a extra something that Exotic threw in there, and it was fire. Where it's like, wow,
that one's
this
really
looks
good.
like Runts.
Project Z
smells like Skittles.
Project Z,
Yeah.
so good.
And it was, I was like, damn.
So
and I just thought to myself, this is what we always think about. Like, if you could get this characteristic, right, this flower look with this nose, and it's like it was the perfect
Project Z.
Imagine what you could imagine. And I was like, wow. And then you think to yourself, wow, these things are finally happening. Because if you've ever grown Z, you know like how shitty it is. If you have Z in a room with 10 other flavors, you'll just like be looking at it like, I can't even believe I'm growing this.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like.
But it makes up for the lack of looks.
No, and it does, right? And then you smell it, and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta grow this. I need to grow more.
But then you grow Project Z.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And now,
but
we're
Project
at that
Z
new level.
had more like of a candy thing going on with it, as opposed to like Z where it's more sharp. So, but it's good it's a dope strain.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
yeah.
what I mean. Just going in that new direction, right?
I did some Project Z open pollinations, and I always tell people grab the fucking Project Z, and they're like, okay, I'll grab it.
If you got some
Trust
of
me,
those
you
left,
want
I'll
the
grab
Project
some.
Z, and he gave them out in discs of 3.
Yep.
So you
3
couldn't like
beans,
and I popped like
and people are finding winners.
I popped like 12. Fuck yeah, Project Z, man. Man, common denominator in like even the 2 podcasts we've had is fucking that rainbow belts, man. There's a lot of rainbow belt shit going on.
I've been hearing rainbow belts the past few months.
I love it. I'm stoked on it because like you said, the rosin amazing, the flower tastes amazing, the flower looks great growing. It's just one of those things. Like I said, if you've grown Z yourself and had to watch it, it's like it's almost a little depressing,
Yeah. You growing any landrace varieties?
No, not right now.
No doubt. That's just a question for all the weed nerds that tune into this type of deal.
I think the kiwi has. Man, I'm trying to remember what the cross was. It was. I want to say it was like there was a Malawi cross in there.
All right. No doubt. Fuck yeah.
Jason from God, the name of his company will come to me in a second. But he was doing a bunch of Malawi stuff, and I think that was in that cross that I popped those kiwis of. So maybe a little something there. But I love that like some of this landrace stuff coming back, and we're breeding it with the hot shit, right?
That's a big thing. I'm pushing that. I'm trying to do a little bit of that just to switch it up a little bit.
That's what I mean. It's like shout out for whoever is keeping that shit alive, so we could do this now. That is a whole.
I have a Panama Red since 2019 that's still around. That
Crazy.
I popped from seed stock that I got from Sungrown Mids.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's more where that came from. I got a bunch of Afghan shit and some Malawi Panama Red, some Ghazni, some Congo. I got a bunch of stuff from Thailand, some stuff from India, and it's all in the network now.
Have you flowered any of it? Any
the
crazy
Panama
terps
Red,
that
I've
you're seeing?
flowered it out 10 times over, and it's good for what it's for.
Right.
Like you could fucking throw it right here in this crevice and just give it water every day. There's like no dirt, it'll grow.
Really?
It's that fucking vigorous.
Damn.
It's crazy. What's up? Oh, well, shit, man. Let's.
Oh no, I'm just saying we hit an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we're gonna edit it. So
this one flew by. Now.
Yeah,
this was
we're
such
gonna edit
a
it.
fun
I'm
one.
gonna ask my those are all the weed questions I have lined up for you, and I got like just some cliche shit we could probably use for Patreon. Yeah. What is your favorite thing about your career, and what's your biggest accomplishment?
Favorite thing about my career, I just love weed. I love the community that's that's come together and that we've been part of building and my biggest. What'd you say? My biggest accomplishment?
Yeah. What's your biggest accomplishment that you think?
I mean, I would say we did some cool shit right before legalization happened. Santa Cruz tried to essentially do a ban because people were starting to go super hard. Santa Cruz had in their ordinance in Prop 215, for every 10 acres you had, you could do 1,000 square feet, right? Up to 3,000, right? So 30 acres, you could do 3,000 square feet. So that's why a lot of the people who had the big properties up in the hills were crushing it. And back then, 3,000 square foot greenhouse was, with 20 or 40 lights in it was, like 200 pounds every couple months,
Yeah.
So, and that was huge back then. People were we were starting to know that legalization was coming or that rec was coming, and people were starting to go big. So Santa Cruz tried to kind of like stop it. They tried to put a ban on it. Me and a group of about 5 or 6 other growers just got together. We did a referendum Right? We went out and we got the votes. We won. It was like some just it was crazy. Like it hadn't been done since like the 70s. It was like some revolution shit. Like,
so are they like grandfathered in to this day?
No, well
like that?
now we're rec legal, but I think for then I think that was just a huge
It's like a buffer to get you guys.
Yeah, I mean we ended up getting the license and everything too, but for
you
me,
guys saved the
that
community
was like
center.
Huge,
you know what I mean?
I think that was bigger than me, right? That was some for the community shit. We went out and did it, just a couple of us, like against all odds.
Dope.
That's fucking.
We weren't educated enough back then. We should have had another ordinance written.
People complain about shit, like politics, and I don't like to hear the dudes that just wave their fists at the moon. I like to hear the dudes that are like, so I went to go lobby.
Yeah.
And I had a fucking list, and I got all those, and it's like, cool, like, I'll listen, but most of the time, like, stuff's bad. It's like, get the fuck.
I do want to. It's been, that for a couple years, from 2015 to 2017, that was like a full-time job for me. Working in politics, meeting mayors, meeting city council members, city managers. I was crazy. I just walking these guys into my trap grows 100 lights.
That's dope shit that we need to know, man. That's fucking dope. And hats off to you for fucking doing some actual legwork when it came to like, all the bureaucracy. Behind, the plant.
That's what we had to do, right?
All the red tape around the plant, man.
That was the mission,
What a motive. Oh, wait up. Sorry.
Did you say shaking your fist at the moon?
Yeah.
Is that a saying?
No,
yeah.
Or did you make that up?
It's like a cartoon look, Like,
is that you made that up?
No, but it's the whole saying.
Okay.
Shake your fist at the moon.
Fuck that.
I'm high as shit, and it's like before 11 still.
What motivates you to work hard?
Man, my family, I got 3 kids, a grandson.
3?
Yeah.
Oh,
so Grandpa Banana. What do they call you?
Yeah, Papa.
Granana.
Wait. What are you? Wait. What are your 3 kids' names? Banana.
No, I wasn't thinking about that enough then. I should have been.
But that's your kids, the family.
Yeah,
me too, man.
and just the next generation. My kids 2 of my sons are grown.
That's cool. That's
the
second time.
Industry.
That's the second time I've heard like families staying in the. And I'm like, there's got to be a sense of pride in that.
That's who we gravitate
next
at this podcast.
shit.
We gravitate like these type of motherfuckers here, man. I appreciate you, man.
And that's that's
who's
really
carrying the torch for the bananas.
Terp, GSB Terp.
That's
man.
right,
He's out
baby.
There. He's next up.
That's right, baby. Hell yeah. What's your biggest fear? I know that one. Just like, what do I even say here? You could skip, man. I'm just
I mean, I gotta think about it.
Well, that's also one of
fear.
those questions where you're asking. Like, it's bigger than like.
It's like it could be anything. It could be like, man, I wake up and there's a fucking alligator waiting to eat me. It could be like anything, man. What do you think about? Like me, my biggest fear, I don't know, is like just getting drunk one day and going on another rant. That's one of my.
Right? You fear being my father?
That's a fear, but not the biggest. But I'm just thinking of one off rip,
No, I mean, I guess.
Uneven concrete terrifies me.
I'm not scared of much. Maybe just if anything, just all this progress and everything.
Some people are like, I conquered my fears. That's a good one too.
And that's what I try to do is face them. That a lot of times I tell myself anything I feel uncomfortable about. It's like go hard at that shit because that's what you need to do.
When you feel like scared and you're doing good shit and you're changing, that's because like you're leveling up most of the time.
That's what I tell myself. It's like if you're uncomfortable, these are the situations you need to be in.
Make yourself uncomfortable. Face those fears. What makes you angry? He's seen like 10 dudes come across. Shitty rosin. I love
goddamn liberals.
Shitty rosin, guys. Please, no shitty rosin.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. This is the first year we're gonna have. I feel like fresh frozen that you'll get lists that were actually grown for hash. I feel like literally every year up until now, it was fresh frozen that you got a list of that was because they fucked their whole crop up. I'm telling you,
so it's a good year, is what you're saying.
Yeah, finally this year people were growing for hash. They were taking the time to
You hear that, hash smokers? It's a good year. This is the second time I hear that from a dude that like is up on the hill.
Yeah, like
and they're like, oh, I'm hearing it's a good year. It's a good year.
You talk to people.
It's a good year. It's a good year, guys. That's
you're
fucking
talking
dope.
to people, and they're like, "What are you doing? Oh, we're freezing all this. Did you do everything you were planning on making hash? Yeah, we knew it. We put the genetics for hash in there. We did everything to defan it and like actually take care of it, do the labor before the end, so it doesn't get fucked up. and like, you know.
You heard that gem right there? They did the de-leaf labor before they cut down the plant. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Listen, guys, listen.
Yeah.
If you want them chlorophyll terps, feel free to de-leaf it day of. Handle your business, but,
you know,
we ain't smoking that shit.
From experience, you'll find out, you know, that that
De-leaf,
you gotta do that work. You
motherfuckers.
gotta do that work ahead of time.
Fuck yeah. So we did what makes you angry. What makes you happy? The family.
Yeah,
I
the
think
family,
that ties back into that one.
You know, just everything that we do, doing this, coming and, you know, meeting with the homies and having some genuine shit, like not no fake shit. I feel like when I come and connect like with you, but on everything I do, like it's like some real genuine, you know, people shit that's not like, you know, there's a lot of
when I see you at the spots, I'm like, okay, we're at the good spot.
Yeah, you know.
When we're like, okay, the fam's here,
Right.
we're gonna have a
like
good
last
time.
night, walked in, I didn't know what was going on there. I didn't know I didn't know anything.
I
just
seen you
walked
come
I
in,
was like, oh, this is this is perfect.
I was about to leave, and then I did leave when you came, but like I was about to leave when I got there. I stayed for a little bit. I said hi, but like I you know, there was a little spurt of energy when you went in there.
Yeah,
you know
that's what I was like,
that gave me
oh,
like
this is some
2
heady
more
homie
bars
shit.
of bandwidth
Yeah.
to like hang out in there. But fuck yeah! Shout out FCP Tuesday nights. They hang out at Good People Cafe. Make sure you guys tune in if you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was dope. And that vibe right there, 5 years into legalization, why is that shit not happening here in California more? Like, that's the dope thing about when you go to New York. Like,
I think
off
it's like
jump, they're doing that shit everywhere.
I think it's like a hidden gem, you know?
Yeah, but like
Good People Cafe, is that what it's called?
Good People Cafe.
I think they
Tuesday
do
nights,
a comedy show
6
there.
to 10.
I think they do a comedy show there one week out of that. They do?
but we don't have a lot
Yeah.
of that shit going, you know?
There's
Cannabis comedy.
There's Masonics on Fairfax on the weekend.
Yep.
You know, there's Good People Cafe on Tuesday. So now we just need Monday, Thursday, and Wednesday for some people to do some shit in L.A.
Well, I mean,
Alright,
if you
and
get
we're
the
fired up.
invite,
Actually,
you
Thursday
get to
Doja
come.
does the Thursday thing that he does in Hollywood there,
Alright.
and that's lit.
There you go. Fuck yeah.
And we got our spot.
We just need to
whenever
do it and you know, make it
Yeah,
more
just more
poppin'
community
everywhere,
shit.
you know,
yeah,
community
more
shit.
options for people to do. That's, you know, we talk all the time about how sick the Hitman coffee shop was, man, and like, and we
I
didn't
missed that one.
appreciate it right at that time. Like, you know, I was going there and I was supporting. I'd buy glass from Doug and shit, you know, but like, we should have been actively doing more to like get people to come in and just contribute and pay. So we
You hear that,
kept
guys?
alive.
Masonics on Fairfax.
Yeah,
.com.
come and support.
You hear
Come and
that?
Support so this shit stays
Good
around.
things only last if you believe in them. Santa Claus is only real if motherfuckers believe in Santa
up.
Claus.
Masonic Claus.
Masonic smoker is only real if you believe in the motherfucker, dog.
Support. You gotta show up. That's
Once
why
you
it's
stop
here.
believing, it's just a mustache.
It's
It
just
just
fucking.
floats.
It's just all right. What's your bucket list looking like, G?
Bucket list, you know, I want to see my kids, you know, evolve and take the torch and be the next up and see what they can do, you know, as this industry becomes something real and you know, we came from a different time, you know, they don't even know illegal cannabis, you know, I mean, Joe's trapping. And
I'm a little bit, you know, I'm like kind of on their page, but not as much either, too. Like I came in, like it was still like bad to grow weed,
Yeah.
you know, and it still is in some spots, but like here in LA, you could walk in and they got a kiosk with a college, you know, student
yeah.
giving you your weed nowadays. I used to get my weed from a Crip named Sibo on
on the corner
across
you know,
the
yeah.
street from my high school on San Pedro Street in LA.
By the way, best weed.
It was the best weed ever. You're not lying, dude. You're
Yeah,
not fucking
yeah,
lying.
yeah.
And the best ecstasy pills.
Yeah.
Back when ecstasy was real.
It wasn't.
You're funding the war, but whatever. No,
And
I'm
it
just
wasn't.
All
kidding.
right, fuck yeah.
No, but you know, more bucket list shit. I just, you know, I want to build the brand up fucking worldwide as this
Hell
shit, you know, continues to be, you know, grow into a new industry. That
Love it.
is going to be something huge for everybody to, you know, eat off of.
Hell yeah. And you're already in fucking all over the United States and in Europe. So, like, you're well on
We're
your
getting
fucking
there,
way,
we're getting
man.
there. Thailand next, baby. We
Thailand
coming.
is popping right now.
Yeah, Thailand's lit.
Hell yeah. Do you believe in luck? Or is
Yeah.
luck created?
No, I mean, I think, you know, opportunity.
Like, do you wake up and like grind, or do you like just sit on the couch and you're like, man,
I
hopefully
just wait for it to come.
this
you know?
one lines
I just
up
sit
on
home
me,
and
man.
I hope something's gonna happen. Nah, you gotta work for that shit. You know,
Hell
you gotta
yeah.
go out and hustle hard.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, you know, is just, that's part of, you know,
But-
I tell my kids that you got to wake up every day and you got to go harder than you've ever gone. That's how it has to be your mentality.
Oh yeah. And last one, it's a silly one, but like, you have any guilty pleasures?
Hash.
Hash.
I mean, I don't know what's
Fuck it.
what's a guilty
That's
pleasure.
that can be guilty if you're like right there. Like,
I don't know.
why
Like,
I'm doing
is there
this."
like a cupcake shop you hit on the way home every day that you like can't tell
man,
anyone about?
I do,
You know what I mean?
yeah, you know.
Oh,
I
shit.
am a sugar.
Oh,
I'm a
no.
sweet tooth, man. That is my fucking.
What's your
vice.
what's your go-to like sugary snack that you're like, all right, I can't, like, you hide the receipts so no one in the
I
family
mean,
sees.
you know, I eat that crumble cookie is crack, man.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's like the next fucking.
I'm a Baskin Robbins at 9:50,
Yeah.
10 minutes before they close type of guy.
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
No,
Running
and
into shit, they
I'm
gotta
so
turn the
bad.
water
I'm going
thing
into
on.
Baskin Robbins, and I'm buying the ice cream cake, you know, on for no occasion at all.
You ever been
Yeah.
to Salt? You ever been to Salt and Straw?
Hell yeah.
For no occasion whatsoever, I'm just buying ice cream cake, you know,
Salt and
making
Straw's
cookies.
great, dog.
So yeah, I'm definitely sugared.
Any questions in the booth?
Damn, nah. I think I got the ones that I wanted. Was the
Hell yeah.
the guilty pleasure was perfect.
What we plugging in today, baby?
Bananas. We got the new flavors we're dropping. I just did new bags. So sick new bags. I've always done like flavors as the bag. Now I'm starting to take it a different direction. I'm going to do all the sick merch I do and make that as the bags, because I've always thought like the merch that I do on the clothes is like the sickest shit that I've made.
I mean, we found out it's the Santa Cruz guy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking so tight. Who
So,
does
yeah.
who does the bags?
Sticker Farmer does all my shit. You know, I've been down with him since day one. He's like family. Yeah.
Hey, I'll hold him up. Shit, what you talking about?
Shout out
baby?
Sticker Farmer. I
Yeah,
followed him
shout
on
out Sticker Farmer.
I followed him on Instagram, and
He's a
I-
legend. He's
dude,
a legend.
some of the
True
time,
G,
dude,
man.
the quickness they whip up some of the like meme packaging.
Yes, they are on that
man,
shit, man.
I mean, when they came out with the oh god, what was it? The like stimulus packs.
Yep.
Man, I was losing my mind,
Yeah,
dude. I was
that was
dying.
motivation. I did that as one of my strain flavors too. I did the stimmy check.
Oh my god, dude.
Any last words besides plugging in anything?
Man, shout out to everybody who's out here crushing it, killing it, popping seeds, growing fire weed, making fire hash. I fuck with everybody. I love everybody in the community. Let's make some noise.
Shout out Golden State Banana Nick for tuning in with Masonic Smoker Podcast today. That was a wrap, baby. Thank
That
you,
was
G.
dope. That was dope.
Hell yeah.